Welcome back to Unsigned Berlin. This is the second part of the Bob Bleedy episode, which is from last week. So if you haven't heard that, go back and listen to it. It will still make sense, but just for some context, for who Bob is and everything, I'd recommend going to check it out. Also, I'm recording this a little later than that episode. That's why Mila isn't here, but Mila's here for this second part of the episode. But this is the last episode she's in for the summer. She's away back home. Well, she's back in California, visiting her family, and just having some fun for the summer. And she'll be back at the beginning of September. So with that, I'll sign off. Enjoy the second part of the Bob Bleedy episode, and tune in next week for an episode with Lemon Eye. At least that's what's planned. So thank you very much for tuning in.
I mean, that it's also an interesting point about listening, how much music makers, artists, producers listen to their own music on a regular basis. Like, I don't know if you do that, but I'll rent out spaces and just listen back to, like you said, old demos. Like, is this a thing? Could this be a thing?
Yeah.
And then it always turns out to be like, I'm like, shit, oh my God, I wasted so much time just listening to my old stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's almost like this weird self-check-in, like reminding, like, am I still at the same place where I was when I recorded these demos? Like, it's like a sanity check or something, or like a progress check. Like, do I still like these lyrics in the same way? Like, so then does that mean I'm still consistent with my vision from back then? And do I have this like fluid, consistent artist development, you know?
Yeah, totally. That's so hard. This particular thing, the consistency in time.
Yeah.
That's like insane. Am I the same person as I was, writing the songs 2 years ago? Yeah, it's crazy. You're not. That's the thing.
You're not, totally.
Yeah.
I also find that sometimes I'll write stuff and then I'll live it out. Like, I'll actually write something that I had an experience and then I'll live through it later.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, is it like you write your own like fate?
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I should try that.
It's really fun to be like, just like write something that you'd want to happen and then one day maybe listen back to it and it had happened.
Oh,
that's cool.
I love that. I'm actually trying to like learn new ways how to like get away from like reality in my lyrics, I just want to like, explore other stuff. I just like, as you said, what was the motto again?
Limitless self-expression, no justification.
And the first part, limitless self-expression. That's like, also trying to always find new ways and just like, maybe, exactly. I love that. Writing like a dream or desire or wish.
Yeah.
Or writing from somebody else's kind of point of view.
That's also interesting because, like, do you imagine yourself within your lyrics?
Actually, like recently, I've been, I don't know, I'm just like, the way I'm writing is like a little bit more like dissociative, as in I'm just like really writing down, like I have folders and folders on my phone of like random like one-liners, or it could be just one word. And sometimes it's like, usually it's like 3 or 4 words that like mean something to me. And some of them obviously don't make it in the cut or something. But whenever I'm like recording a song idea, I just like take the phone out and I'm just like, saying random stuff, and if it makes sense or anything, and to see what works. And not always. And like, with the lyrics as well. So I'm just like sort of like trying to like connect stuff and see how they work and get an idea of what it's going to be about. Not necessarily like, is this me? Is this them? It's very often, I guess, I'm the protagonist. Like, I'm not the narrator. Like, it's like, I'm like directing, like, I'm seeing something's happening.
It's like first person.
Exactly. It's usually, it's first person for sure. But I'm so sorry. Okay, I need to turn it down. I'm really sorry. Work.
I can also remind you in like 30 minutes or something. Just
all good. Yeah, I'm
30 minutes.
Yeah. So, and like recently, I got into ChatGPT.
Oh, for lyrics.
Yeah, it's really like,
interesting.
I used it for the first time yesterday to come up to just get words thrown at me, because if I'm like writing reps,
that's great for prompts. That's
great. Because then you can be like words
Exactly.
associated with this, and it will generate a bunch.
Exactly.
That's great.
It's what's so cool.
Oh
about
shit, it could be cool because I do use Google for songs a lot of times.
I used to use like a random word generator,
Mm-hmm.
just to like practice. and ChatGPT is so much better because it can be around a concept.
Yeah. It's insane actually. So
It might actually help with it when you're in that space and you're like, oh my God, you know?
exactly.
And it's the easiest, fastest thing.
Yeah.
Work.
And like you can find your own ways how to make it work for you. But like, it's like initially I just wanted to like, you know, I heard from friends, oh, hey, Robert, guess what? Like, you're going to lose your job. You know, there's this thing, you know, or whatever. So I checked it out, you know, and I was like, yeah, okay, write like a Kurt Cobain kind of lyric. With, and I sent him like a recipe for like, you know, banana bread and like make like a Kurt Cobain song out of it. And like, it's pretty good, but it's not good.
Uh-huh.
It's only pretty good. It's not like, that's the thing. It's just like, it's usually like copying something. And that's the thing. Anyone can like really write this into it. And then like, since it's just the imitation of imitation, it's really, I think creativity is about like making something original, I suppose.
Yeah, it's also like communicating your experience and showing your inspiration through following up on it. And I think for me, at least, that's a lot of what music is, of like trying to be really close to that experience, even if it's nothing like what I live. Like if I'm in London and the weather's horrible, listening to drill is great, even though I'm like so far from anything that is covered in lyrics for that. Just because it's like taking on an emotion from a person. And I don't know if there's like intricacies and weirdness to it that's not very good that makes it human. And I think that's a lot of what music is and why it's enjoyable.
Totally.
And I don't know if AI can get there.
No, I don't think so. I was like, okay, good. I'm still good for like some time for sure.
Did you say banana bread Kurt Cobain?
Yeah.
Was it like, bake me?
That's good. It was not that good. If it was this, like, it would be okay. Gotta hit here.
Job's done. Job's over.
Well, it can't take, you know, just gotta wait. Chat GPT's gotta wait.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Sorry. I was really excited. I was like, I couldn't control myself. I had to, okay. Yeah.
Love it.
What were you gonna say? Sorry.
No, I was saying something. Yeah. And then it was like, you know, fucking around with it. And yeah, like one day I woke up. And I had this, I don't know how it came to me, I forgot. But I had this idea. I want a song that's going to be called Trespassing 101. And I don't know, like I had some sort of a dream or something. I don't remember. I don't remember dreams. It sucks. But it's just like this idea, Trespassing 101. And I loved it. I don't know why, but I was like, okay, what could it be about? That's what I like about it. It was like, this could be about this and that and that. And so I asked ChatGPT, hey, what do you think this song could be about? It's called Trespassing 101. And it's just like, well, you know... it could be about, you know, forbidden love, or, you know, it could be about, you know, I don't know, like trying to break rules, sort of like kind of like a tutorial. And it gives you like a lot of like things to think about, and then ask, oh, is there any myths that like, you know, can sort of like that the kind of are surrounded around the theme of one of the interpretations, and it really finds the myths. And it's like, the thing is like, I was just like playing with it for like 3 or 4 hours, and I didn't even get like a line from it. Like that's the thing. I was just like thinking like, oh, what the song could be about, and like what are all the associations that I can get with the word. Because formerly, if I got this idea, I'd be thinking, okay, Trespassing 101, and then I'd be like, okay, so I could go to Thesaurus, or what's it called, Thesaurus, you know? And
Thesaurus,
like,
yeah, and you'd get something, you know, and. But with this, like, it's really good, even for myself, like, to, like, think of, like, okay, so, I don't know, shotgun, you know, or Adam and Eve, forbidden fruit, apple, stuff, and you just go and, like, wow, you know? And you haven't written anything, but it's, like, nice. And so I was just building sheets, really, with it. That's what I'm doing. And, yeah, I think that's what's pretty cool about it. So, yeah, to really actually answer your question... I guess I'm like writing from a first point of view, but I'm really juggling. I'm trying to like recently juggle and try to like get out of myself kind of, you know? So it's like really not necessarily what happened, or it could be what happened on one level, but it could be someone else. It could be future, past, whatever.
I always, pulling from different experiences is always the coolest. Because then nobody can ever catch you writing about them, which is really great.
Nice.
But yeah, you'd be like, oh yeah, no, that was like about 5 different things.
Exactly.
Don't worry, you.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
you
yeah.
worry. It's not just about you. Yeah, it's about
The
1,000.
you're so vain. Like,
Yeah,
You
yeah.
wish.
I bet you think this song is about you.
what do you draw from to write about? Because I was thinking earlier when we were talking that I saw. Well, actually, I was told about, and then later saw an interview with Young Lean, who's a Swedish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone asking him basically like, you're really young and you write so many songs and obviously don't have that much experience because you're young. And what do you write about? And he was saying like, it's not your job to have experiences as a songwriter, but to be able to communicate a really any emotion into a song.
Oh, wow.
Which for me was like
how
a
old
different
was
way
he?
of thinking.
How old was he?
Like 21 or 22 or something.
Oh
It's
my
like-
god. That's crazy, you know? That's killing me though. How
yeah. How
but
emotionally
not
like,
killing me. Yeah, but not killing me as much as like, you know, Lord releasing like pure heroin.
Yeah, or
while
it's-
being 16, I'm like, oh my god.
Or I saw recently Stevie Wonder, I think was 22 when he released, or 21 when he released Superstition, and it was like his 7th album, like on his 7th album or something. And I was like, that's ridiculous.
Oh,
That's
wow.
insane. But what do you, when you are sitting down to write a song, are you usually thinking like, oh, this is something I want to write about? Or is it, let's just see where the instrumental takes me? Or what's the kind of process like that? A process of that like for you?
Yeah. I guess like, yeah, I'm like just collecting folders of like musical ideas, like seeds, and the same thing with like lyrics.
Yeah.
So I have just like folders, like
Mm-hmm.
Johns, and you know, and like based on like emotion and like the quality, I guess I have like best of, and then I have okay,
Yeah.
like almost trash, and then I have trash.
Yeah, same.
I never delete them. I don't know why.
Don't ever.
Yeah.
Don't delete them. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Following this project, do you have any interest in like just moving that whole folder to a hard drive or something and starting from zero?
Yeah, actually, I have like everything related to this album was like all the files, track files was like A1, the demo,
Mhm.
A2, A3, A4, and now I'm like at Beast doing like second record. It's the same thing with like lyrics.
Okay,
So
cool.
this sort of like, yeah. So I'm just like moving to a different folder completely.
That's
Mhm.
fun.
Are you even getting rid of like samples as well and just starting?
Yeah, exactly,
Wow.
exactly. Yeah, it's the same thing in Ableton, exactly. So I
Yeah.
have like a what is it called? Yeah, a template file, and
Mhm.
I have like my own like sample pad
Yeah,
there
yeah.
with like an effect chains and stuff. Exactly.
What I mean is, moving on to the second project, are you getting rid of your whole
Past.
library of samples and stuff that you've built up for
No,
that
not
project?
the whole, but like I'm getting rid of like the I guess
Ideas, if that makes sense.
I'm getting rid of like the like for instance, like if I have like a drum rack or whatever, you know.
Mm.
Right.
So I'm just like now I have like different kind of samples there.
Yeah.
I use across the different projects. So there's like compatibility.
Nice.
That's hard. It's hard for Czech people, you know, because we don't have the accent on the second. You know, that was so hard. By
Oh.
the way, in when I was in Kentucky, it was like I couldn't say like Apollo 11, you know, or Apollo 13 or whatever.
Kentucky?
Yeah, I was there for 10 months, by the way.
10 months?
I know.
In Kentucky?
I know.
Why?
What were
Who
you
would do
doing?
that?
Oh, I was at like
Why?
it was exchange, high school exchange. I was
Ah.
16, and
Oh, you poor thing. In Kentucky.
I actually really
Was it really
enjoyed
nice?
I really enjoyed it, but like yeah, it was interesting experience.
Was it small town? Like very
Yeah,
small
yeah.
town? Interesting.
Yeah. Of course, you know, if I could choose, then you know, I would be like, okay, yeah, I would like to go to, you know, LA, New York, or something. You know,
Mhm.
Chicago. I don't know, whatever. I
Chicago's
know.
cool too.
Yeah, but yeah, like I mean, it was the best year ever, really, kind of. But not like, I don't know, just because it was so weird, because there was so many new experiences,
Mm.
and I remember so much from it, even the bad stuff, the good stuff. And that's the thing. It just feel like when I look back at my memories, that's when I really like that year. Is like if there was like a heat map of like my memories
Mhm.
chronologically. That year was just like really
So
glowing
much.
there, because everything was new, and I suppose there it was also interesting in a way. I guess I don't know. Maybe I enjoyed being a little bit like slightly center
Mhm.
of attention, because like there were like 4 exchange students at the high school,
Mhm.
and so yeah, that was interesting. And Kentucky's in the kind of inside, so and it's hard to it takes a while to get to a different country.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And but I loved it because the high schools and the high school movies, they're true. I don't know what you think.
From her stories, I'm like, oh, of course.
But it's so true. I thought it was completely I guess it's inflated, of course. But
of course, yeah.
But the stereotypes, they're so at least then they were so true. Mm-hmm. I was like, whoa. Mm-hmm. And I could but at lunch, there were these cliques, cheerleaders, role players, Christian kids, the band. And I was talking with everyone, and I didn't know the social clues. And I remember joining the marching band, and friends from around the basketball team. They're
oh yeah.
But I joined the marching band. It was just that in the pit because I joined later. They let me play the keys and.
Because we don't have an equivalent of that. For the UK, and I guess I think there's a Romanian school in it as well. It's Harry Potter, which is we have uniforms, but everything else is completely fantasy. So I think for me it was always of course American high school movies are completely fantasy as well, and they're ridiculous.
They are ridiculous, but
no,
American high school is ridiculous.
Do you remember? Very different from our high school here.
Do you remember if there were any musical experiences you had there, maybe with the band, or just finding music in Kentucky being obviously different to music in Czech Republic? Was there anything you remember being oh, this is really cool and new for music?
Around the time I was 16, I was really exploring music. I didn't have Spotify yet, but I got this book for my Christmas, 1,000 albums I need to hear before I die, and I was really into it. And that was just really on the internet. So I was listening to a lot of music. It wasn't really related to the place, although I got really into a band called, I don't know if you know it, Slint, SLINT.
No.
Insane band from Kentucky. It's insane. It's they're kind of they're getting digged up, but they were buried, and I just read about them. It's absolutely amazing. I don't even know what style it is. It's if it's some sort of I don't want to say something stupid, but it's really some experimental dark prog rock something,
Right.
Not really, but someone might watch this oh, of course it's not. Whatever. Yeah, but it's really, really, really cool the way they tune the guitars and everything. And in Kentucky there was a lot of country connected to hip hop, and to me that was just what the fuck is happening?
I think that's everyone's experience with Lil Nas X, the Old Town Road came out, and you're like, what?
Oh my god! The pickup trucks and everything. I was like, okay, and so that was something. Yeah, I never really got into. Although I guess I respect the genre and everything, I never got into country, but I did listen to rap. But the combination really killed me, or the combination of old Taylor Swift. What is it?
Yeah.
Just hardcore
Country.
pop and country.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of painful.
Yeah. But her recent stuff, I think is pretty cool though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's another example of those just really tight production, really tight songwriting and everything. It's not my thing, but it's to say that it's badly done is ridiculous.
Of course.
Kind of
I've never been drawn crazy. I really respect her as a writer, but it's been interesting how in her career she's been able to go back and forth between so many movements, usually people think it's so you go acoustic and then you go electric, that's the natural flow, but she's just gone back and forth, ping pong, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have an overlook on your future work like that, where you're oh, this is where I want to go, or maybe I really want to do a funk album, but I want to be better at instrumental parts before I do that? Or is it just just work on what I want to and then we'll see?
That's the thing I struggle with. I feel like I'm on a crossroad, but there's hundreds of roads, and especially today we have so many options.
Yeah.
Sound wise.
Paralyzing a little bit.
It's paralyzing, exactly. Yeah, it's some paradox of choice or something, or anxiety of choice. I don't know. There's a term for it. I don't know. Could be a little bit of FOMO or something.
Paralysis. choice paralysis. I don't know, something like that.
Exactly.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
exactly.
It's like,
So I'm trying to really
choose.
limit myself, but it's difficult because you also don't want to be limited because you want the options. So it's difficult because that's the thing. I have like sometimes I'm listening to like albums, like modern albums that are like really like art rock, really restricted, like super dry guitars. It sounds like something from the 80s, but it's modern. There's a modern twist on it, whatever. But it's just like, I love it, but I know if I did that, I'd be like, after like a few songs, I'd be like, but you know, I want to like put a little bit of autotune there, here, and there,
Yeah.
and do something like, you know, that's the thing. So I just like, for me, myself, it's like, I really want to do, yeah, I get bored, I guess. I want to do, I want to have like really modern sort of a sound and combine as many things as possible.
Yeah.
As long as it works.
But then I guess also doing what you're interested in, and then on a more micro level, making decisions that aren't necessarily correct is what makes an artist like them as an artist, and what makes people attracted to them. Maybe.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I listened to this book, what is it, by Rick Rubin, and he was
The Creative Act, I think.
It's pretty cool. Have you read it?
Not yet.
Yes. Though I haven't finished it. I think like I was audio booking it because I'm dyslexic and it's going to take forever to read it.
Yeah, me too. I was wondering.
With the last like 30 minutes, I haven't finished yet. And the first couple chapters, I was like, this is such an interesting outlook. And I love this. And then the middle bit, I was like, nah.
Interesting.
And then by the end,
I had it the other way around.
Oh, okay.
In the beginning, I was like, oh, what is this? Like meditation, kind of
yeah.
like Power of Now. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
read these books. But yeah, I mean, I was just like... and then in the middle, I think like it became a little bit about... Like... I don't actually remember where it got cool. Maybe you'll see. I don't know, whatever. But he really... what I really liked is when he got into like limitations and the practical tips. And it's just like how limitations make...
So true.
I think that's maybe when I got bored, because just from doing this podcast, we've talked to a lot of people about the creative process, and a lot of it is we need I want limitations. Johannes, who we were talking about earlier, Half of a Rainbow, who's like does everything on 4 8-track tape, which is like the ultimate limitation.
Yeah.
Almost absurdity. And I'm so the opposite of that, where it's like I love to just sit down with Ableton, which can do everything, and just like go for it, and it doesn't bother me. So I think maybe that's when I got
it works
bored.
for you. For me, it's like sometimes it's like it could be paralyzing, really.
Yeah.
I just think that ideas can run away really quickly and go in crazy directions if you don't have kind of a set boundary for that idea to live in. Yeah, like you got to build it a house first, and then you got to like live in it. But
totally. Oh, that's nice. Interesting.
Yeah, and then you write the song within it. But
yeah.
So many ways to think about it, really.
Yeah, totally.
We can all create our own little philosophy on it, I think.
Totally, yeah. He was talking about some sort of a guide there, like, what is it, like Yves Klein's Blue or something? How like this guy just like was like decided just to work with blue, and he just came up with like a kind of blue that no one's ever seen at the time. It's something like super like extra like gleaming kind of blue. You can check it out. It's actually quite cool. And he's just like painting everything with the blue, and you're like, fucking love it. It's great.
Yeah.
It's just got like, you know, that, and you know, of course he uses maybe like white or something like to contrast it with, of course.
Yeah.
If you have just one color, then there's really just one painting you can do with it. Which is blue. Yeah.
Though there's an interesting episode of a Netflix animated series called Love, Death and Robots.
Oh yeah.
There is something blue that I'd really recommend for anyone watching as well. Just like, that's a similar kind of like creative, like a look on the creative process of like how do people deal with this. But yeah, Rick Rubin's a fascinating person.
What are your like biggest inspirations outside Rick Rubin?
Pharrell, I love.
Yeah, same.
Even from songwriting, Pharrell, like
yeah.
I do like every week or so I do cover songs just for Instagram, for social media, because it's what you're supposed to do.
You're doing cover songs?
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. But that's you learn so much from it.
That's what I was gonna say. From covering the one that I felt like there was a big difference between my music from before doing that one song and after was Señorita by Justin Timberlake, which isn't Pharrell actually. I think it's Timbaland, but they're like similar in terms of like bounce. The way that both of those make drum beats is completely different to what other people were doing at the time. So definitely Pharrell. And then graduation era Kanye West. And a little bit Life of Pablo. Life of Pablo was cool, but it's not
no, that was great. I loved it.
but it
Life of
wasn't.
Pablo was
It
great.
didn't get me
Real
as
first.
into it as the first couple albums.
Uh-huh.
And then recently JPEG Mafia's production I really, really love. It's really
Nice.
weird. And he does it with FL Studio, which is insane to me. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I always thought it was
Whoa,
Ableton just because it's so crazy.
Not
but
shit.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I don't know about you.
Pharrell for sure. Grimes a lot.
Yeah.
Her work ethic I think is insane. Like to the verge of like not like, eating properly probably. Like where she's just constantly doing music and she just forgets. Like she's just like such a like I really love her. Like she's had some interviews where she talks about the making of her early albums where she's like locking herself in her room, driving herself to the bridge of insanity, and like her roommate just like pushing food under the door. And I think that's such a cool thing. So I don't want to dive into that, but I think it's an interesting approach to creating.
That's really cool.
What do you think about her AI? Are you gonna do a feature with your
wish.
hyperpop stuff coming up?
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna do
You
everything.
can now.
I will. No. Yeah, who knows? Charlie XCX for sure. Love Charlie.
Yeah, she's cool.
And
No soca or like Afrobeat stuff.
oh God, yes, for sure. Like Patrice Roberts, Malik Berry, a lot of Natalie Benton, I think her name is. I've been listening to. Yeah, I'm a huge Afrobeat fan as well. So
Nice.
Oh, also just for me, Michael Ozaruru, I think is how you say his name. Very quiet. There's like 2 interviews with him or something, but he has produced an immense number of songs that are incredible for hip hop R&B. If you're like into Kendrick Lamar or SZA or any of the
Yeah.
kind of top dog entertainment people,
Oh,
Yes.
really?
He's-
Didn't know.
from a production standpoint worth checking out. Really
Oh,
interesting.
wow, cool.
it's crazy how many like
Quiet
quiet
producers,
producers. Like I have the same thing with this producer called K Quick, who just is on everything, and like has produced for Chris Brown like these crazy songs.
Wow.
Like his name is on so many cool projects, and
Yeah.
it's insane. So that's our
Wow.
job, though.
What about you?
Yeah. What about you? That's what we're doing.
No, I actually love to hear your inspirations, honestly. But yeah, I guess recently, this Rick Rubin was interesting. Let me think. Thinking first, like, there's a lot really, but I'm trying to, think of one, two. That's a lot. I suppose, like musical artists. I suppose, recently I've been really into. I love Jockstrap. You know him?
No, I feel like I've heard the name, but maybe not.
Oh, they're great. They're great. It's just
Okay.
like, I love it. It's like the music is super dynamic and playful. It's like duo.
Cool.
The singer, like she's from Black Country New Road. Don't know
Oh
if you
yeah.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy, I don't know, they met at like uni, I think. And like he's doing the productions, I think, and she's writing, but like they might be collaborating. And I don't know how it goes, but the production is like, super creative. Like it's just like super playful, and it's the songwriting as well. But like he's like using samples very musically. Like he takes out like if there was like a dog barking, so he just uses that like as a percussive element, and you just get hoof hoof, and it's just like, and there's so many things like that where it's just like, I'm not just like, oh, I need something to fill it in with, and I'm just gonna use like some synth here, whatever. It's just like it's super cool, and it's really spacey. That's the thing. It's just like it's super dynamic, and that's what I like about it. It's like I also want to, get a little bit more dynamic, because I feel a little bit too compressed.
Yeah.
So that's like a new inspiration, this thing. And her songwriting as well. It's in different way, but similar thing. She's just like not like A-B, C-B structuring. It's like flowing, but at the same time you get the repetition, so it's just like really makes sense. It's not just like
That's the same thing as I have with Pharrell, where I would listen to some of his tracks and then make like a MIDI track of the bar measures of how he structured them, and then save. I have a Ableton template of just structures
That's
because
so
I really
smart.
struggle with
That's
structures. And then you can drag it in when you have an idea, stick it in the structure, and then fill out. Tip for Ableton users.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Cool.
No,
Yeah.
that's really cool. I also, do you know the band Life Without Buildings?
No, but it's a great
cool,
name.
It's a cool name, yeah.
Yeah, so there's the main singer of that band. Her name is Sue Tompkins, and she's like a multimedia artist. But her role in that band, it's a Glaswegian band, actually, Glasgow-based band. And it was kind of short-lived, but like the whole thing is this kind of like poppy kind of guitar riff, indie thing, and then she just kind of like puts phrases over it, but not particularly melodic phrases, just like spitting out words, and it is so cool.
Nice.
And I would love to do something like that in the future. I think it is the coolest thing ever. But yeah, Life Without Buildings, highly
Sounds
recommend.
great. No, that's
it's a
really
really,
cool.
really good band.
Love it.
She is a huge inspiration too.
Definitely,
That's it. That's all.
definitely looking at like things like this, exactly, that can like expand my
A little more left
creativity.
of center, you know,
yeah.
not usual,
Mhm.
typical.
Yeah.
But that's smart as hell.
It's-
That's a real thing.
It makes life easier.
Pro tip, Sebastian. Yeah. When are you gonna write a book? Make it
Never.
into an audio book
Books
so we
are
can all
books.
listen.
I can
That'd
read
be
them. I'm not gonna
awesome.
write them.
That'd be really cool. But yeah,
Yeah, we've done an hour and a half.
we had a
Um,
really great time.
Yeah. Great talk.
It's a fun,
Thanks.
Yeah,
fun one.
thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Before we sign off, is there anything you want to promote? Obviously, there's the album.
Yeah, there's the album. Definitely listen to the album. I have a gig in Czech Republic, so
I think probably have some viewers in Czech Republic.
Yeah.
so in Teplice, and I'll be playing in Berlin as well very soon, but it's not announced yet, so I can't really say. But
Cool.
Maybe at the time when this comes out, it's gonna be on my socials, so definitely check it out.
Yeah.
And would love to see you all there. And yeah,
Awesome.
Amazing.
thanks
Well,
for
thank you very much
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Yay.